Hello, everybody. This is hashtag follow the conversation, episode 50. My name is Michael, and I am here with my co-host, Drewby.
What
was that?
That was a Drewby impression.
That was a terrible Drewby impersonation.
Drewby.
That was. You got to go with the low voice. You have to sound tall, but not like overbearingly tall. It's all in.
I would say it is overbearing. Ruby.
Just no. Should I be insulted by this impersonation of me? Like this very.
Hi y'all, Drewby. What's up?
Well, in case you didn't know, I am not Michael, and that is definitely not Drewby. We've swapped the seats around a little bit this week. I am hosting the show this week. It is all on me. I'm recording
the chain. I'm untethered.
You are free to go and do whatever you please. You are no longer tied to dragging on the conversation necessarily, although I do hope that you will chip in at some point and be productive. For those of you, Michael just left. He literally just got up and walked away. Man, this is going well. This is going.
I just needed to stretch my legs. Sorry.
Oh, well, good. You
Okay.
You should have done that before we started the show.
Oh, stuff happens.
Stuff happens. This is happening. I am hosting the show right now. Fasten your seatbelts. We'll see what happens. How's it going, man? What's been happening?
So I've been playing this game called Metal Gear Solid V. We've talked about it a little bit. I reached a point in Metal Gear Solid V where I have completed Chapter 1, whatever that means. I know how many missions are in the game, so I know how close I am to the end. I know that you did not want to have that spoiled, so I won't spoil that, but we are, not far over halfway.
So we have passed the halfway point, both of us.
Yes.
Okay.
As far as I know, we're actually on the same level now, too.
Okay. I know that the next... the last one I did was Mission 31. That's the last mission that I did. As far as story-wise. I've done a lot of the side-up stuff, but... yeah. So we've kind of... All right, so you started this game about a week ahead of me. It took me about a Saturday, and then I was caught up to you. And then you and I have kind of been staying pretty level with each other as far as the story progression.
You've been able to use Destiny as a buffer to keep us near the same area.
You Destiny, yeah. So, but man, well, we might talk about that in a little bit, but
I can't stop you.
So you can't stop me. This is my show right now. I can
you start talking about Destiny, I'll just start playing Adventure Capitalist some more.
Hey, I might start playing Adventure Capitalist. Actually, I can't because I'm hosting. So yeah, you and I have played. I've got probably around 40 hours into that game.
I think I'm 35, 36.
Okay, and it is. Are you about Metal Geared out yet? Have you reached that point where it's just man, there's so much game here?
The thing is, it depends. It's a session by session thing. I have to play my video game time in chunks. I can't just splurge all the time. There's multiple days in a row I just won't play anything, and then I'll get to play for an hour, and then I'll not play for days, and then I'll get to play for 2 or 3 hours. And so at the other night when I was playing, my wife actually fell asleep, and I had ended up playing for 3 or 4 hours straight, and I had reached the point in that play session where I was I don't care how many missions I could go be doing. I don't care I could be stealthing this mission. I just need to go and see the story, because we from mission 28 to 31, there's actually a bunch of story in a row, and I kind of wanted to see what happened there. So I was just not caring about stealthing, not caring about anything, because I was getting a little bit Metal Geared out. The problem, and I don't know how much we want to talk about this, but it looks like the next couple missions and it sounds like kind of the progression from this point forward is that you're actually going to end up repeating a bunch of early missions on harder difficulties. I'm not exactly thrilled about that. It sounds kind of lame.
Yeah.
So like it's weird because I like this game a lot, but certain things are just kind of tarnishing my view of it. Like I don't want to spoil anything, but like there are certain things that are implied in the story after Mission 31 that are supposed to hold weight. That as someone who doesn't know much about Metal Gear, which is my fault, and then someone who hasn't been shown a lot of extra Metal Gear story, which is their fault in this game at least. A lot of stuff that I think was supposed to hold way more weight didn't hold as much weight as it probably could have had it been paced out better, which I guess is just one of the things that happens when you have an open world game with tons of side missions, but whatever.
Yeah. The story pacing is, I would say, maybe impossible to do great in an open world setting like that, because when in an open world game, generally you're going to give your players more side missions to do. Like, here's this little side thing you can do. And in a game, I had something's on the tip. I cannot think of an example right now, but there are games where it's like, hey, the world is ending, but hey, could you like find my rabbit or something? Like, it's
every RPG is that thing.
Skyrim, there'd be an example of that, where like I think the dragons are coming back or something, which I haven't even beaten that campaign. But like, I mean, so I like open world games. I've liked them for a while, just because of the scope, and they're just cool to me. This is
the problem specifically with this game, and like I don't know how much we're gonna get into spoilers here, but like there is a moment, and I don't think it's too spoilery to say that it involves Skullface and Big Boss. That I understand intellectually why the moment was supposed to hold a lot of weight and mean a lot. But considering that up to that point, there had been very, very little cutscenes establishing kind of like there's almost no cutscene between the hospital, which is the first hour of the game, to the Mission 31. Like there's almost nothing. And especially if you haven't listened to all the tapes, like it is incredibly easy to get lost. Mission 30 has like a 10 to 15 minute monologue that is supposed to be an info dump, and it is just so insane. And like maybe I would understand it more if I understood. Like you understand more Metal Gear lore. Did that conversation make a lot of sense to you?
There's the Metal Gear that they are dropping in this game is like seemingly like very untied to other stuff that I know about the series.
Or they're retconning everything.
Or that, but we don't know. We haven't beaten the game yet. We don't know what they're doing in the story. But like the stuff that they are doing, like I'm trying to grasp or understand as well.
When I texted you the other day, I sent you a text that said something along the lines of, I could not understand this story less. It was during that monologue. Like there's a character and he just sits there and he's talking and talking. And I don't even understand why Big Boss is letting said character talk. Like, shoot him in the face or something. Like, there's all kinds of things about that whole segment that and basically I'm reaching a point in this game, especially after watching the original hospital sequence again, because I've been watching Giant Bomb's Metal Gear Scanlan, and it's like is like the entirety of this game hallucinations. Like, how much of this is just like inside Big Boss's head? Like the flaming whale, I think is relatively safe to say was probably fake, but like how much of like all of, I don't know. It's Metal Gear, so it could all be fake. It could all not be fake.
It is Metal Gear, and they've done things in this game that were totally real. That were like in the, Metal Gear Solid 3. There was a villain who could like control bees and was like throwing them at Big Boss, who you played as in Metal Gear Solid 3. There was a ghost guy who turned out to be dead, but like the entire boss sequence was you just going through a river and like watching like ghosts just walk down it, like, and that is what actually happened. Like that is what Big Boss experienced. Well, actually, I take that back. The thing where he's walking on the dead people, he was dreaming at that point. But like
I heard
there's just crazy things in those games.
that we've now reached a point in Metal Gear canon where you've played more games as Big Boss than Solid Snake, is what I was told.
The games that all right, so this is Metal Gear Solid 5. In Metal Gear Solid 1 you play as Solid Snake. Metal Gear Solid 2 you play a little bit of Solid Snake, but the majority of that game you play as Raiden. In Metal Gear Solid 3 you play as Big Boss. 4 is Solid Snake again. So Solid Snake has 2 full games. Big Boss now has 3 full games. But Peace Walker is also like main canon and has some story in it that is kind of relevant to these games, like Ground Zeroes and Phantom Pain. And you play as Big Boss in that game. So yeah, I guess at this point we've reached that point. I mean, I think there are other games, like there's Portal Ops, which is Big Boss, but there might be some other Solid Snake stuff that I'm not aware of.
At some point, I'm guessing Big Boss is supposed to be a bad guy.
I don't think this is too much of a spoiler because it happened, like this is an old game, but yes, Big Boss is the bad guy in Metal Gear and Metal Gear 2, which were like SNES games.
Yes, but Big Boss is a bad guy. But what makes him the bad guy? Like, what's he doing that is bad? He just has a private army and he's like collecting nukes to himself, which I don't know. In real life, of course, that makes you a bad guy, but in the Metal Gear universe, everyone is in a private army that's collecting nukes for themselves.
But the governments in the world are doing that all the time. Does that just make governments bad guys?
Are you caught up on the Idle Thumbs podcast?
I am not. I'm still way behind.
Okay, I'm going to spoil something that is in the game that I've not seen, that no one will ever naturally see in the game.
Are you talking about Phantom Pain?
Yes.
Okay. Go ahead.
Do you know what I'm talking about? Someone
No.
discovered a hidden cutscene on the disc.
I don't know if I've heard about this.
I don't think there is a natural way for... I think there is a natural way. It is not feasible. Okay, so I guess spoilers for the gameplay, whatever. After you beat Mission 31, you have the ability to collect nukes or disarm nukes. If you collect nukes, you can then use nukes on other players, and other players can use nukes on you. FYI, do you know what using a nuke does?
I don't. Not in the game.
It completely destroys someone's FOB base.
How do you prevent that?
Don't use nukes. Or have more nukes. So you can nuke the other people.
But what's your nuclear deterrent? Like, how do you protect how are you protecting your FOB if
your nuclear deterrent is more nukes?
But
or,
if you choose
gameplay wise, you cannot get nuked if you do not use nukes.
But if I start stockpiling nukes, then I can get nuked?
I think so, yes. But the theory would be you would not nuke someone that has more nukes than you. I mean, that's real life. That is literally what real life is. You just don't nuke the country that has more nukes than you do.
But it's a nuke. I mean, one nuke. It takes one nuke, and like the damage
and you
is
destroy
done.
the FOB. But what if people have multiple FOBs? And you don't want them all to be destroyed because you have less nukes than the person that is going to nuke you and nuke all your friends because there's factions and everything. Anyway, it's real life. Like, that part of it is kind of real. All right, here is the thing. There is a secret cutscene in the game that people have ascribed to. They're assuming, based on code or whatever, or maybe the cutscene itself. I haven't seen it. There is a special cutscene that presumably will only be triggered if literally every single person in the entire online multiplayer section of this game disarms all nukes in the entire servers on the entire game.
Disarms.
So there are no more nukes ever in the game. Meaning every single player decides not to build nukes and instead decides to destroy all nukes. So the entire game is rid of nukes. If that happens, a special cutscene will occur for people where I don't remember if it's Big Boss. There is basically a cutscene where Kojima is, whether it's Kojima himself or like Kojima talking through Big Boss, gives a speech on how the world should be rid of nukes and we should disarm all the nukes. And like, it's
says the man who's made Metal Gear.
The point of Metal Gear is to not... You don't celebrate nukes in Metal Gear. Metal Gear nukes are a necessary evil. Like, he doesn't want nukes in the world. So, like, there's this, like, propaganda speech. If every single player ever disarms every single nuke in the game, there's, like, a propaganda speech on how that is the way the world should be. That is one of the weirdest things I've heard about in a video game.
That cutscene's never going to get triggered. There's no way.
Speaking of weird cutscenes, there's a Jurassic Park game where if you collect every single thing in the game, one of the Jurassic Park actors basically tells you to go outside and like have a real life and not play video games all the time.
What game is this?
It's one of the Jurassic Park games. I don't remember. I looked it up. I saw it. Somebody was talking about it.
That's funny. It wasn't in Metal Gear. Is it Metal Gear? You play for so long, and then he's like, "All right, boss, it's time for you to take a break." And he's like, and it could be interpreted as a summon back to Mother Base, or it could be just like, "Hey, guy, go outside for a minute."
I do not know this, but I'm going to make a prediction about Metal Gear.
Is this how specific of a prediction is this going to be?
What do you mean? I don't know how to define specificness.
All right, what's your prediction?
At some point, either you are going to switch characters to someone else, or you are going to get the chunk of metal removed from your head, or you're going to find out that all this was hallucination, and you are going to be presented with an actual "kept you waiting, huh?" which they did not give you at the beginning of this game. I'm waiting for a late title card, "kept you waiting, huh?"
Yeah, but that's more likely going to come. That came in. I mean, we got it in Ground Zero, which is kind of the prologue to this game.
But they even hinted at it in this game.
Where?
But he didn't do it. At the beginning of the game, like Ocelot hands him his gun and like is telling him stuff. And he's like, "Come on, man! I need you to say this. I need you to say, come on, kept me waiting."
Yeah.
Huh?
Yeah.
And he won't do it. It's coming later in the game. I'm just saying it's gonna happen.
I've played one other Metal Gear game, Metal Gear Solid 4, and I played through the game, kind of understood maybe what happened. Went back and rewatched Giant Bomb's cover of Metal Gear Scanlan when Drew played through that game, and like there's stuff that I missed, and like when we beat the game, like we need to go, like there'll be discussion among us for sure about what the heck is going on here, and then also like trying to understand everything. I mean, what started off as like an awesome action game and kind of the purest Metal Gear game as far as like this is kind of grounded, is turning kind of into, and it still kind of is the most grounded game, but it's revealing itself to be what it is.
It's super dumb because it both has like at the beginning of the game, it's this like massacre of a hospital that's super dark, and then later on in the game, you have Quiet, who is spray painted her entire body gold, who's like shooting people with a tranquilizer gun while you wear a chicken mask and go and like Fulton send entire bases into the air on air balloons, and then you like Fulton the pig, and then you go back to your base and you can like play around with animals, and like it's both like it's a Japanese game. It doesn't really know what it is. It is both serious and absurd. Like it's anime. It's just anime. I don't know why I keep trying to describe this. It is an anime. It is incredibly dark and incredibly absurd at the most random and sometimes inappropriate parts.
It's Japanese animation. Japanese anime. There's a whole thing in Metal Gear Solid 1 about the Otacon going on. It's like, I'm a fan of Japanese animation or anime or whatever. So
Quiet has three outfits. Spray painted silver. Quiet right now. She has 3 outfits. She can spray paint herself silver, spray paint herself gold, or cover herself in an absurd amount of blood. Like, it's disgusting. So what you do is then in like Afghanistan, she just covers herself in blood and then just rolls around in the dirt, and then she's like blended in and she's completely invisible. Yeah, that's
the blood of her enemies becomes her disguise.
Or you can just spray paint her silver, and then you never see Quiet on the field anyway. Everything about that game is like weird.
It's a Metal Gear game. we probably should have expected this. So, all right, well, we did do something a little bit. We played a game. I played a game. So did you. I hadn't played in a long time. This last weekend we dove into Rainbow Six Vegas.
I was thinking Super Mario World.
I actually did dive into Super Mario World a little bit. You had played Rainbow Six Vegas too a little bit. Was it still as fun as you remember? I mean, do you still like the game?
Yeah, Rainbow Six Vegas was a game that I very first. What?
Go ahead.
That I very first like rented, like when it was new. Like the game came out and like I heard reviews or whatever of it, and then I was looking for a game to rent to play co-op with one of my friends who was at my house. So we rented the game and we played through, I'm pretty sure, the entire campaign within like an 8 to 16 hour period of time. And so that was back when this game was cutting edge. Like, it looked good. The graphics on this thing were awesome. Like, it was like cool because it was a cover-based shooter, but like, I don't know, it was its own thing and I really liked it, and it was super tight, and it was one of like the first 360 games I played. And then like I forgot about it for years and years and years and years, and then eventually it came out on Steam. It was super cheap, and all of our friends bought it, and then we played nothing but terrorist hunt all the time.
Yep. That is the Terrorist Hunt is the signature mode. I played through the story. I don't know if I beat it or not. I don't remember, but
It's really
I did
dumb.
play it. Oh, the story. Oh, I mean, it was an Ubisoft game back at the time. It doesn't hold up. Are you saying it was done at the time, or? I mean,
it was never good. Like, the story itself was never even that interesting. Like, the only thing that's worth doing is the gameplay, which the campaign has plenty of like cool set piece moments and stuff, but it's not like that interesting. I don't remember anything about it.
But we've played I mean, you and I have both played a lot of Terrorist Hunt on that game, and recently we got back into it, and it's still fun to go through and clear out. Like, that game, I think 2007, I want to say is when that game came out, and it's the multiplayer at least kind of holds up a little bit, and not necessarily the graphics, but like playing through that game can still be kind of tough, and
I think it would be hard to go into if you never played it, or if you are not good at like being okay with old games. But going back to it and kind of knowing how it is, I think it plays super great, and it's still super fun.
So, we played that, but I also did play a little bit of the Rainbow Six Siege closed beta. I got into that, and there's some buggy things about that beta. I've had some, like, I've loaded into matches where like the other guys that I've launched into just won't move. It's still buggy. It's got some problems, but there is a terrorist hunt, and it's called Classic Terrorist Hunt, which they're kind of playing off of that idea of going back to Vegas too, I think. Did Vegas 1 have Terrorist Hunt? I don't remember.
I never played it.
Okay. But so you go through, and that game doesn't have the cover-based stuff that Vegas 2 had. Siege doesn't. But it does have a lot more routes maybe that you can take to taking down the enemy. They're a lot smaller maps and areas, but you can do more in them. So like, I can walk up to a house, rappel up to it, and let's say that the terrorists, there's cover on the window. They can shoot the boards out on the window, and then just from outside, just aim in and take out terrorists that way. One of the things I want to say about this game is one time I went to the roof, and I broke a skylight, and I went down inverted from the ceiling, and so I was upside down and like shooting terrorists and stuff, and it was the upside down like was throwing me off. Like, it was just like, I won't say I was gonna throw up, but it definitely wasn't like, I wasn't feeling absolutely 100% fine. Which is kind of like, I don't really get that experience in games anymore, like at all. Like, even like flying games where you might be flying upside down, it didn't affect me, and I haven't been affected like that in a while, and that was different. I hope that they can pull this game off. This game would be super fun to go in with like 4 or 5 friends and all on mics, and like you're all like, we're going in and we're gonna like clear this, and like maybe bump it up to the hardest difficulty, and then just going and trying to clear it. So I have no idea what like you're trying to do.
I blew a bubble in this thinking putty. and it
What is
popped.
that?
It's thinking putty. It's super lava thinking putty.
Oh, that's great.
It's like silly putty, but better.
Gotcha. What's better than silly putty? Thinking putty. So, all right. One thing we do need to cover and at least talk about a little bit is, Michael, you introduced me, I think maybe for the second time, into Super Mario World.
Yeah, basically, I want to play Super Mario Maker, and I have not made the decision to purchase that at this time. So, I've been playing a lot of Super Mario World instead. You've never really played a Mario game except for 64. You never played a 2D Mario game, really, have you?
No, a 2D Mario game. That's it. I've only played 3D Mario games. 2D Mario games I've never really owned or gotten into. Like I just haven't played.
I full completed Mario or Super Mario Brothers, Super Mario Brothers 3, Super Mario World, and whatever that game is, like Super Mario and the Golden Coins, the 6 golden coins. Blake had that game, but also my other cousin had that game. And then I've played Mario 2, and then I've played Super Mario World 2, which that is like the worst example of... Okay, you may not understand this because I don't think you are super familiar with these titles. So Super Mario World is the greatest Mario game of all time. That's not even that big of a debate.
It's the greatest kind of a debate.
Like the only one people would compare it to is Super Mario 3. And so Super Mario 3 and Super Mario World are considered the two best Mario games. Super Mario World, I do believe, is probably the majority of people's favorite games. There is a Super Mario World 2. It is the game that also came out on the Super NES that presumably would be the sequel to the greatest game of all time, or greatest Mario game of all time, that ended up actually being the game where you play as Yoshi and like you have baby Mario and baby Luigi on your back, and if you get hurt, like, have you seen that game?
It's not coming to mind as like
I don't hate that game. I actually think it's all right, but giving it the title Super Mario World 2 is super dumb because it's nothing like Super Mario World.
Okay, that was probably just a selling a marketing point at that.
That's exactly what it was.
That's kind of sad that it would lead. That's got to be disappointing too. It's like, man, this is my favorite game of all time. Play this. This is nothing like the first one.
Listening to Jeff talk about, so I actually like the game. I just don't think it deserves that title. Listening to Jeff Gershman from Giant Bomb talk about it is hilarious because he hates that game and he hates the fact that it has that title.
It's an offense to his being.
A little bit, yes.
Gotcha.
Quest for the 6 Golden Coins is the name of that Mario game.
Yeah.
According to Blake in the chat, friend and co-host of this site.
Yeah. He is involved with the site. What we discovered though with me playing Super Mario World, I suck at it. I'm not very good. I
mean, if you never play 2D platformers, you have no reason to be good at them.
But I've played Super Meat Boy. Like
yeah, but you're also not good at Super Meat Boy.
I got pretty far in Super Meat Boy. Like, I mean, no, I didn't beat the game like you, but I put in my time with that. I put some time with that game.
It's different physics. It's like it's you just got to get used to it. Also, like, comparing yourself to the way that I was playing is not fair because I have played literally 400 or 500 hours easy of that game.
All right. I take back what I said. Steam is only reporting 2 hours with Super Meat Boy, so
I didn't think you'd played it that much.
That does not sound right in my mind. I think I played that game more than that. Maybe
I think all of your time with the game is documented on the site, and I think it's relatively easy to find that you're not great at Super Meat Boy.
Maybe I just played more on the 360. Maybe that's just where I played that game.
Do you have it on the 360?
I don't remember. I haven't played a 360. I haven't played my 360. My 360's broke. I have no idea what's on that hard drive. If I got my hard drive,
360 hard drive games.
I could. I just need to get another 360, which I haven't done. The
or
game
an
on my hard drive.
One.
I wonder if I could play my, because I want to. I have on my game on my hard drive for the Xbox 360. I have a Samurai Showdown 2, and that is the game that I kind of want to go back and play. I wonder if I'd be able to access that through my Xbox One. That might be.
That's something you can look up.
Yeah. Okay.
It's available. There's documentation on what games work and what don't.
So one of the other games though that Michael that you kind of want to buy is Taken King, Destiny Taken King. What about that game is kind of driving? Like, why are you interested in buying that game? Like, you weren't interested in it before.
I played some Destiny. Destiny's fun. It seemed like a good I at this point, like, when I say I mean this with like the lightest need possible, because first world problems, and obviously we don't need video games.
No.
I just kind of want a palate cleanser for Metal Gear. Like, I've been playing a lot of Metal Gear, and I need something that's kind of different. And like, obviously, it's a first-person shooter, but I think that anyone can attest that Metal Gear Solid 5 and Destiny are very, very different games.
Yes, they're both shooters, but they're different games.
I have games like Bloodborne, but I don't think Bloodborne could ever be used as a palate cleanser for anything.
No, but Super Mario Maker could. That could totally.
Super Mario Maker could totally, and that's why, like, if I do pick a game right now to just own, it would be Super Mario Maker. I think. That would be awesome.
Yeah. The stuff I've seen of Super Mario Maker is cool. I would kind of like to play that game.
How much have you wanted a Wii U? Because if you like Nintendo games, the Wii U has a lot of good ones.
Mm-hmm. I've debated on and off. There was one point where I was like, I kind of want a Wii U, and that's what I want to play. But like, I
Mario Party on the Wii U.
I don't want one bad enough. Huh?
There's a Mario Party on the Wii U. I know you wanted that.
Oh, garbage. Oh, Mario Party's terrible.
Mario Party, was it 10? That game is so fun.
Oh, they made me so mad. All right, so just a little background quickly. Giant Bomb has a video series called Mario Party, where it's basically they play a game of Mario Party in 50 turns. And it goes on for hours. And I like those videos. Like, they're funny. Like, Jeff hates the game, and it's just kind of fun to watch. I played Mario Party 10, and it's like, I hate this game. Like, this is so stupid.
Mario Party is a garbage game for babies, but it's kind of fun. Did we play that with? Hey, Blake and John, did we play Mario Party with you?
I don't think so. I think your wife was there.
Did, but that is a thing that needs to happen.
It was your wife and I think your brother Mark.
If there is some way that we can make that work when you come out, which I don't know if there will be because I will have a child at that point, we should make that work.
Oh, children don't take up that much time.
It's the fact that it's so loud, though. That's the thing I'm worried about. Mario Party is extremely loud.
Just go to your parents' house. There's like multiple rooms. Just throw the baby upstairs and it'll be fun.
And then there's Rock Band 4. That's kind of a thing I wish
that would be a good palate cleanser too, but that game is like it wouldn't be.
I can get Rock Band 4 for $80 and I would be able to use my old instruments and they'd all work.
$80? Oh, is it because that adapter? That's why.
Yep.
Okay. Yeah, see, if I go into Rock Band 4, I don't own any of the Rock Band games, so like it would be like $150 investment for me. Will come with the game.
It's more than that. If you just want one, if you want the full set, you need $250.
$250.
Yeah. Sure.
And that's $250 is a fair amount of dough to drop for.
That's a Wii U.
That is a Wii U. That's also like almost half. That's more than half of an Xbox One, which I also kind of would like. Halo's coming, but there's no way I'm going to play that by launch. So
I've given up on Halo. I don't know if I talked about this on the show. I have budgeted out the games that I'm getting for the rest of the year that are on my regular budget plan. That doesn't include any like gift money I might get or whatever. And it's basically gone down to, let's see, Until Dawn, Fallout 4, and Just Cause 3 are going to be the games that I'm stuck with for this year.
I don't know about Fallout 4. Well, I might see how that game goes. Just Cause 3, I might. I don't know. Let's see. Are you gonna get?
We did totally play Mario Party with the brothers. We should do that again still.
Okay. So yeah, it was you guys played on a separate occasion. Then I wasn't there. Can you play 5? Oh, it is 5-player because So.
Yep.
Yeah. Mario Party. Oh, that game sucks. That game is terrible. Don't play that game. Don't waste your life. There are better things to do with your time.
I have something to talk about if you're running out of subjects.
Well, I actually have one more thing, but it shouldn't take that long. But I want to hear what you want. Let's go with what you want to talk about.
Something was announced this last weekend, about Facebook and Facebook's child company. Ringing any bells?
No. What happened? I was this
a release window for a product in a
yes.
The Oculus
Facebook and it threw me. I was like, what?
Facebook owns Oculus. I was making a joke. Facebook's owned Oculus Rift company has announced that this November they are releasing the Gear VR, the consumer version of the Gear VR for $99. That is a way fancier, way more high-tech version of this thing, which is a Google Cardboard, which will let me use my Samsung Galaxy S6 to experience the joys of virtual reality in what is the first and most easily affordable, really, really high kind of end VR.
I would like to point out it's Oculus, but Blake's spelling of the word is pretty great. He spells it Oculus.
Is he saying that I said Oculus? Or is he asking, or is he, maybe he was guessing, because the chat's behind, maybe he was guessing.
Yes, it is behind, but that's still like that's a great name for that.
The Oculus Rift.
That headset.
I mean, I really want it.
Yeah.
Oculus Rift is the thing that makes me want to like figure out how to program in Unity so I can build my own weird, crappy VR stuff. And then just go chill.
Go chill in your virtual world that you created. You like, become the user at that point.
Okay, so like a little bit of sidetrack. I have a podcast on this website called I Can't Know Music, I'll Know Music. I would love to build like, and they already have these. I wouldn't even have to make them. Just like, what's the word for like, is it an equalizer when you're seeing the music and you can see like the effects? Like a 3D version of that where the music surrounds me and I can listen to the CDs for I Can't Know Music, I'll Know Music inside of a virtual world where I can see the music bouncing around. Like, that sounds super rad.
That is like ultimate, like trippy, like hippie immersion.
Here's the thing that got announced the same day as the $99 Oculus Rift. Netflix also got announced, and there are people that are already using the Netflix app, and basically they're describing it as like sitting in an IMAX theater and you could just watch whatever's on Netflix on IMAX. Because you can make the screen as big as you want to, and you can just look around and see it. That's kind of tight.
I don't think I've ever been to a true IMAX experience theater like that. I've been to like theaters that claim to be IMAX, but they're all they are just big tall screens. I mean, never been to.
That's all they are anyway.
I thought that there was an actual like what true IMAX was. I
mean, if you're getting super pure people, but like it's namely it is a ridiculously huge screen.
Okay. Then I have been to one of those, and I'm okay with just going.
Imagine watching 30 Rock and seeing Alec Baldwin like stories big on screen as he makes jokes at you. That would be tight.
I don't.
How many times am I going to make my arms out gesture like this? Because I'm holding my like goo. I don't want to touch anything.
I'm holding my goo. I don't want to touch anything.
That's true. Anyway, I think I'm super excited for that thing. I want it super bad. So that I wanted to talk about that. What were you going to talk about?
It's cool. Like,
are you going to get one? That's a really affordable price. Like, that is just on the verge of like, I could blow this.
Yeah, and see, it's also like a VR experience that could be totally sick and rad, but I also don't have to spend like $600 to upgrade my graphics card on my computer and then spend like $300 on a retail of Oculus. Like, I can get a sweet VR experience for $99 plus cell phone, which is I already have, and is already like a common device in some households. So, like that could be this could maybe. Here's the thing: we've talked about this a little bit, where in order to get VR to be super popular, it's got to get people have to have these awesome experiences that are made by companies. These companies are only going to make these if there is a large market for these products. The Gear VR could be the bridge between full-blown Oculus Rift on PC and the modern consumer, where it is an affordable entry point into VR, where they could say, I am totally behind this technology. This is totally awesome. Imagine what I could do with a computer or with more power behind this, and then go into the next one. Like this, Gear VR could be that bridge.
I don't think it will actually take off until Apple decides to make one, because that's the world that we live in.
That
I agree with you, but that's the world that we live in.
oh.
Like, of course, it doesn't matter, especially if this comes out and it works really well and people should love it. But until Apple makes one, like, in fact, I am sure if I start looking at sites for this, like start looking at stuff about the Gear VR, there's going to be lots of comments that are like, I can't wait till Apple jumps in the VR ring, or Apple should totally make VR. That'd be the best version of it. It's like, you don't know anything about it.
What terrible world we live in, where the Apple hippies are dictating the use of technology. Like,
you have to use your Apple VR with your Gear, or your Beats headphones.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, but also paired with your Apple Watch to place you in like in a virtual space.
And it won't work quite as well as the regular Gear VR. Like, but it'll also have Siri inside, and she'll be able to talk to you, and that's totally cool. So, you know,
the movie Her will come to life, where like people will just fall in love with their smartphones in a whole new way.
That's creepy, and people already do that kind of crap in Japan. We're just gonna turn into Japan, I guess.
Yeah, America is the next Japan.
That's depressing.
Our animation is just going down. We're gonna have Justice League anime just like everywhere. So, all right. One of the things I want to talk about, and briefly, this doesn't take long, but like, it's not. It's pretty. I think it's known, at least on this site, that I watch more TV than you do. Like that is not.
This thing is sticking to my mouse, and I can't. I'm having problems. There we go.
Put the goo away.
No,
put the goo.
I need to think.
In the box.
I need to think while we have this podcast.
Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. starts up tomorrow night, and Arrow and Flash are starting up. I think next October 8th. I think is the date for those. Which
the Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. consensus was that show ended up being pretty cool. So
yes.
People are excited about that, I think, right?
Yes. Yeah. I don't know the general consensus, but like that show did get popular. Season 1 started off pretty rough. Like, well, it started off okay, and then it was just bad. And then like after Captain America 2 happened, then that show got really good, and then season 2 was genuinely pretty good. And then like season 3 hopefully it will be great as well. But that is starting. Like fall TV is we're getting ready to get back into the swing of things.
I'm pretty sure also the shows that I watched started back up.
Brooklyn Nine-Nine season 3 episode 1 is on Hulu.
I haven't watched any of that, but I'm pretty sure the Goldbergs just started back up. I should probably try that show again. I was very irritated with the mom character in that show, Beverly, I think is her name. Yeah, and I know you guys, your family kind of loves that show, and you talk about it. So I might give that another shot. We'll see. It could just still annoy me, but we'll see. It's likely she hasn't changed, I'm sure.
We'll see. I do need to get caught up on Brooklyn Nine-Nine, though. I did not watch the end of season 2, so I am behind on that. But Arrow and Flash are coming back, and people are excited for that. We're also getting a Supergirl television show this year. That's coming a couple weeks after Arrow and Flash start.
Are Arrow and Flash on Netflix yet? The last season?
No, they are not.
That's what I'm waiting on.
And I'm kind of waiting on too.
Actually, if it hit this next week and a half, that'd be a good timing for me.
If you had to prioritize one, though, I would recommend that you prioritize the Flash. If you can only have time for one, check out the Flash. Don't waste your time with Arrow. In my opinion, Arrow season 3 was not. I would probably rank them season 2, season 1, then season 3. Season 3 was just not good. But Flash was really good. Here's an interesting thing though, and maybe you can share your thoughts on this. the same gentleman who kind of who's in kind of, I think maybe spearheaded Arrow, Greg Berlanti, also went and was kind of involved in spearheading Flash. He is now, like, I don't know how involved he is with those projects anymore, Arrow and Flash, but he is now working on the Supergirl TV show and is leading that up. And there have been talks about possible crossovers in those. Now, this isn't too far-fetched, because CW, which is where Arrow and Flash air, is owned by CBS, which is where Supergirl is going to air. There's something DC doesn't have a very strong movie presence, but I think they have a decent TV presence. To something like this, and how does that sound to you? Is that something that would interest you at all? Is that cool, or is that just like they're just trying too hard?
I'm not overly interested in Supergirl. I always like it when superheroes interact with each other if it's done in an okay way. Like, I like the Avengers movies. I don't love DC, but I kind of am way of the I haven't seen a lot of them, but using my experience, which is Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. and Agent Carter, which I thought were both pretty garbage, but I liked Arrow both seasons. I like the DC TV stuff right now a lot more than the Marvel stuff. So I mean, I'm likely to give it a shot. I guess I saw what's that, Daredevil, and that was all right. At least what I saw.
Oh, that's right. You haven't even finished Daredevil.
No, I've not.
How many episodes of Daredevil did you watch?
Like 3.
That is something that you should watch. When you're time.
I'm gonna have a lot of free time. My wife has taken a little mini vacation, and so I'm gonna have some time to play some games, watch some TV.
Yeah. I would almost prioritize. Is
Tom Welling gonna make like a cameo appearance in Supergirl?
I haven't heard anything.
That'd be pretty funny. He's probably old now, right?
Tom Welling. He's got to be. I'm gonna guess he's like in his 30s.
I'm gonna look it up. Let's see. Tom Welling, 77. I don't know. I'm about to get 38.
38 years old. Wow.
He still looks pretty decent. He looks mad decent.
Kind of reminds me of Henry Cavill.
I have no idea who Henry Cavill is, but he looks mad decent. That's all I'm saying.
Henry Cavill is the gentleman who played Superman in Man of Steel,
which I didn't see.
Yeah.
Wait a second. Is Jensen Ackles in Smallville?
I don't know who that is.
He's a dude that's on this other TV show that I saw about Supernatural.
Jensen Ackles.
He played Jason Teague. Who's Jason Teague?
I do not know. I didn't watch Smallville.
I'm assuming Jason Teague is a DC character, though.
They can't.
He's a once boyfriend of Lana Lang. Okay, so he's not real.
Okay. So he was like a little cameo. They can't. I don't know how much they could bring Smallville back, because in Smallville they did have characters like I think Wally West was in there as the Flash. They had a Oliver Queen character in Green Arrow. They had a Hawkman. They at least had a Hawk Girl in that show. I don't know how much of that they could bring back and not. I mean, they
funny cameo though. I think it'd be a funny cameo.
It could be a cameo. That'd be a better cameo than. It would work better as a cameo. It's like, hey, can you point me to, like, I'm looking for the corn festival or something. I don't know. But then they go that way. And it's like, okay, thanks. And then he just walks off.
What's up, y'all? Looking for the corn festival.
I'm from Smallville.
Surprise, surprise, surprise.
It's James.
Oh my God.
That's a reference to a Jimmy Fallon skit that we watched on TV recently. I don't remember if we talked about it last week on our show, but it's pretty good. What was it to look up? Jimmy Fallon, if you want to look it up.
If you look up Jimmy Fallon, thank you notes, iCloud.
Thank you notes, iCloud. And so yeah, TV shows are coming back. We'll see what happens with that. Hopefully these shows are good. Season 2 of Flash hopefully is awesome. We'll see what happens with Arrow. I'm kind of interested in what happens with Arrow, just because Arrow is kind of cool as a concept, but they dropped the ball with it last year, in my opinion. Also, some of the actors they have just are not good.
They need more Black Canary and more of Thea Queen.
they need to. They need to drop Black Canary before they drop the Queen, in my opinion.
Okay.
Laurel, I think that
I can't make a call.
Um, when you watch them make a canary cry in that show, and it's just like the most like painful thing. It's just like, why am I? It's so stupid.
Like maybe it's actually affecting you through the TV. It's like physically making you disarmed as well.
Something I'll bring up now though. If you are interested in like these TV shows and you are following some of the same fall TV that like kind of I watch, and like some of these superhero shows, if you would like something that Michael has kind of put to me, and I haven't thought too much about it, but depending on how like this hosting stuff goes for me, maybe it could be a reality. But we could do more of a sectioned off TV podcast where me and an unbeknownst host, I don't know who this would be, but we would get on the show. This probably wouldn't be Michael because Michael's not going to be able to keep up with these shows like I would be able to. But I get on the show and we would just talk kind of through the episodes that we saw through the past week. And it would be spoiler territory. But if this is something that interests you, email us or just tell me in person or just let us know in some way. So we can kind of engage interest. I've talked to my brother about it, and it's something that he is interested in. If there are others of you who are out there that would be interested in this, let me know or let Michael know. It's maybe something that we can put together.
You could also give out your mailing address.
Drewby at theculturemypeople.com.
That's your emailing address. We've been known to give out addresses on shows before.
That's only when we're super tired, and I don't think we've hit that point yet. Also, though, something I realized this, something we haven't talked about on the show yet, this specific episode. This is episode 50. Episode 50 of hashtag follow the conversation. We've been at this for 50 episodes so far.
That means in 2 weeks, it will have been 1 year.
1 year that you have been on every single show.
1 year of podcasting.
Yes.
We never ever skipped a week. It's been a constant 52 weeks. On the dot.
On the dot. You could count on that. You could put the entire life savings on that fact. We've been going at this for a little bit now. I don't think any of our shows have hit 50 episodes before. I think this is the longest running show that we've ever done together.
That's true. Hold on. Keep talking about this stuff. We actually have got to be hitting a lot of hours of content. Let's see here.
This content, maybe.
I mean, content has whatever value you ascribe to it, but we've put out a lot of hours of it.
We've put in some time into these things. Both of us have through the videos on the site, through the podcasts that we've done. I mean, we've been podcasting together for like 3 years now, going all the way back to our roots at Gamer Sauce.
I mean, more than that, we started Gamer Sauce when I was not married yet, right?
I don't think you were actually. Before you're married, and your marriage is 3-year anniversary. Is this was 4, this year?
We had our 4th year anniversary.
Oh, man, we've been podcasting for 4 years.
I mean,
at
5,
least.
I guess, at that point. 5, off and on, maybe. But yeah.
Man.
I don't know how to add up all this, but there's a lot of episodes. We have 50 episodes of hashtag after this. We got 9, or I have, with Blake, 9 episodes of I Can't Do Music, I'll Know Music. We have a bunch on the topic of video games, the monthly issue, the regular, the actual Culture of My People podcast that we used for a little bit. 2 episodes of Too Cultured, Too Furious.
Should go back and check those episodes out.
Yeah, I remember them being good, but also I remember I also get into this weird kind of emotional high whenever I watch Fast and the Furious. So maybe I was off.
We should do a show of hashtag where you watch a Fast and Furious movie and then you come and do this show, and then we'll just gauge the difference on based on this week and then next week or whenever it is, and just
you can take this. Okay, you can take this as you want to. But when my brother-in-laws were in town, we all decided to hang out, and we decided to do a Fast and the Furious marathon. And when we did said marathon, we started, of course, with the first movie, and there is spoilers for the Fast and the Furious, which you should still watch, even if you haven't seen it at this point. There's the point at the end of the movie where there is an act of bromance that is so wonderful that my sister looked at my face and said, "What the heck? There are tears in your eyes. What is wrong with you?" And my wife turned and said, "Oh my goodness, I think he's crying."
Well, at the end of which movie?
The first movie.
The first movie?
Yeah, when he pulls out the keys and he gives them to Dom.
Really? At that part?
I get emotional in the Fast and the Furious. It's a great,
Why?
it's a wonderful movie. That is the most bro love that you can have. Blake agrees that it was very emotional.
Oh.
I think that might be the last movie to make me cry.
This was the Fast and the Furious.
Before that, it was Toy Story 3. Actually, Toy Story 3, I straight up wept openly in the theater. Like I was different. I could not handle myself. It was not just like a welling of tears in my eyes. I was like straight up bawling in the theater, and I was like, "This is a bad movie." I was a rough time in my life. I don't know what's going on.
I don't know. You just been married. Life was going well.
It was rough.
It spoke to that movie, brought out an inner turmoil that you didn't know you were experiencing.
Yeah, well, I mean, I guess if we're just including movie, I guess War Room, I got happy tears in my eyes. Like, I was not weeping openly. That the only movie that, okay, so I remember weeping openly with Toy Story 3, and the last time I can remember being that sad at a movie was when I saw The Fox and the Hound as a child. It was like the most soul-crushing movie I'd ever seen in my entire life.
I don't know. I've never wept openly in a movie. I've definitely teared up in movies. Like there was a movie Radio. It's a very sad movie and touch movie that deals with racism in like the 50s. And that movie got me. That movie, I cried in that movie. I teared up. The weirdest. So I mean, I've never actually like wept openly in a film.
I got a decent amount of tears when I played To the Moon. Like
I did start crying, and I was crying in that.
There was an emotional moment in To the Moon when, like, straight up, I was like, and it's weird because there's not voice acting; you're reading it, which I guess I've like got teary at a book before. But like, there's a specific moment in the game. I will never, ever, ever spoil To the Moon on any show that we do, unless it's a specific spoiler cast, because that is a game that I think anyone should have, like, always play at all times.
Everyone should play that game. Like, if you
don't like games, play it. I think everyone in the chat's played it.
Has everyone in the chat played it? Okay.
Yeah.
That game is everyone should play that game. I played that game. It's about 3-4 hours long. It's so good.
There's a moment in that game where, as I'm reading it, I'm like, "Oh no, I know what they're gonna say," and then they said it, and I was like,
it was for me. It was I did cry in that game. So I don't think I've cried in many games except that one.
I think I was a little bit sadder than I should have been when spoilers. All right, I'm gonna spoil this. This may be relevant to you, so you may want to plug your ears.
In Forza Horizon 2, when Dom hands the keys to his car.
No, there's a moment in Gears of War 3 where what's the name of the character?
Marcus.
Not Dom. Wait, who's Dom then?
I think Marcus isn't Marcus the guy on the cover, and Dom is like his like friend or whatever? Like it's
yes,
like your co-op.
Dom is his best friend, and he dies. That moment, I got a little bit sad.
You like Gears 3, don't you? You think you actually consider that a good game?
I think Gears 3 is the best of the Gears games. I don't think anyone really not okay. Some people argue that. I think the majority of people that like Gears games like 3 the best. It's the best of all of them.
Okay.
I have 4, and I've nearly beaten 4. I think I've played 95% of 4.
4 is
It's
different
not,
than Judgment,
sorry,
right?
not called 4. It's called Judgment. 4 is not out yet.
Okay.
Judgment is the 4th game, and I've beat 95% of it. It's not that great.
Okay. Well, man, podcast is what we do. Let's start wrapping it up. Unless you've got anything else you want to talk about.
I mean, I can say that after this, I have to. Blake, you're in the chat, so like this can actually get out. I need to make my notes for that album. We're on I Can't Know Music on the Music. We're going to be talking about Pink Floyd's. John in the chat says he cried at the ending of The Office.
Oh,
I Can't Know Music on the Music. We're going to be talking about Pink Floyd's. Why am I blanking?
It's the Prism album.
Yep. The Dark Side of the Moon.
Dark Side
of the Moon. And there's a song on there that talks about breathing. Anyway, we're going to be talking about that. And I've listened to it a million times. I haven't got to actually make my notes, so I got to sit down and do that before.
Just listen to the commentary track.
Is there a commentary track for that?
I have no idea.
Actually, before this show, Blake actually sent me like a 50-minute like kind of mini documentary, like interviewing Pink Floyd about that album, and I haven't got a chance to watch it. But
Blake in the chat is asking you if you would like a copy of his notes.
Sure, I'll just cheat off of you, and then we can both read from the same notes. But we have to do it in a way like you would do in school, where like I can't just copy you, because then the audience would know that I actually copied you. I have to try to paraphrase what you're saying, but then also like you told me that your notes suck on air, so like there's no way that I would actually understand like what they mean. So I would try to interpret what they mean, but I wouldn't fully really get it.
That would make for a great podcast.
That would be some kind of funny blooper cast or something where I just look at Blake's notes and he looks at my notes and we try to talk about the album.
Oh, you should totally do that for an album.
That would be weird.
You should totally do that for an album. I think I had an album in mind to recommend to you guys, and I cannot remember what it was. I know jokingly I was like, oh, I should recommend like a polka album or something, and you guys should totally just cover a polka album.
We have not done polka. We've been looking for ways to mix it up. I actually have an idea. We always talk about this off air. I actually have an idea for next week's album, but I'll have to discuss it with Blake first. I don't know why I even brought it up, because I'm not going to actually say what it is, because whatever. I don't know how to podcast. That's why I'm not the host anymore.
That's why you've gotten bummed. If you guys do have ideas, we're talking this, and if you have ideas for their podcast of like albums that you would like them to cover, you can email. Is it what do you want to email?
culturebypeople.com.
Podcast, PCast or podcast? Podcast at theculturebypeople.com. Send your submissions there, and they can look at those.
I know we get a lot of email, but generally we're able to tell the difference between the emails for this show and the emails for I Can't Know Music on the Music. We'll be able to separate them out, so you can email both shows there.
Yeah. We will put in the effort to
we read all your even if we don't read all your emails on air, we do read them privately, and like we will discuss them even if we don't get a chance to read them on air. Someone just suggested an EDM album. You also did that in the email, and I also talked about it last week. I like EDM a lot, so I would not be opposed to that. Maybe.
Okay, so maybe somewhere down the road. How about a Lady Gaga album? Could that be in the works?
I mean, that's a thing that could happen. I don't particularly I think Lady Gaga is incredibly talented. I'm not a particularly huge fan of her art. I use all these in quotes for the audio podcast. Artistic showmanship, and the fact that she's a psycho. But I think she's a talented musician. She's just a crazy person, also.
You could cover her parody album called Polka Face.
If that was an album and it was a full album of Lady Gaga parodies, I would cover it. Like even if it were not on that show, I would do something about it.
You would figure out a way to listen to that.
Yeah.
So, all right. Well, Michael, how can people find you?
People can find me on twitter.com/MichaelNipp, MichaelNipp, or facebook.com/TheRealMichaelNipp.
If you want to find me on the internet, at Drewby132 on Twitter. Facebook.com/Drewby132. If you want to email the show, you can email us here, podcast@theculturepeople.com. If you have ideas for maybe improve the show, did I do a great job hosting? Did you like this change of format? Let us know. Email us, tweet us, and give us feedback on how this all worked. Yeah, this is my first, I think, ever podcast hosting, and we'll see if this continues.
True. You hosted on the topic of video games.
I did host one once before. I did. Yep, I did host one before. This is my second. This is a little bit different though, because I hosted that one because you were gone.
Hold on.
You haven't been on every single episode.
I think of hashtag I have. Of hashtag I have. That was on the topic of video games.
Was that on the topic of video? Okay.
I think this is the first ever podcast I've ever been on that I did not host.
See, there's a first. There's a first. We got that.
I've never been a panelist on a podcast.
We're gonna end this show. Michael's like, Drewby, you did a terrible job. Like, I'm just gonna take these reins back. This is terrible. I quit train wrecking my show.
I can do whatever I want to. A silly putty now. I'm a fan.
See, when you free Michael up from like the duties of hosting, this is the great thing that he can come up with. Is he can do things like
fall.
that.
Oh, it fell. It was off camera.
No, I put you on camera.
Oh, good. Well, it almost fell and made a mess. If this touches the carpet, so I have a dog, and he is this big, and he is the equivalent of a mop that's made of white fur. If I were to drop this, and this is shag carpet, on this carpet, it would never be usable again. It would instantly be dissolved into dog fur and then dissipate.
It's the way thinking putty works. So for this episode 50 of hashtag follow conversation, this has been me, Drewby, and my co-host
Drewby.